This is a steal for the Rams. An NFL insider links the Rams to a star free agent wide receiver to fill out the wide receiver 3 position. How this player can impact the Rams offense and receiving room next year, all that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. But before we get into today's episode, we got to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, Prize Picks. And remember, as always, to play $5 and get $50 instantly in lineups, use code DIGEST to sign up for Prize Picks today. And Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app where you pick more or less on your favorite players' sports stats. And now is a better time than ever to get involved in Prize Picks. You have the NBA playoffs going on, NHL playoffs, MLB regular season, all the biggest MMA fights on here as well on Prize Picks, and the FIFA World Cup coming in less than a month. All of that will be available on Prize Picks. And now I have some picks coming up for you all later on in today's video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Thank you once again to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Now remember, play $5 and get $50 instantly in lineups when you use code DIGEST or the link in the description or pinned comment to sign up for Prize Picks today. Thank you once again to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. And now, let's get back to the news. And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Rams Digest. I am your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before we get into today's video, make sure to leave a like on this video right now for the Rams to have a great rest of their offseason, as well as hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 6,000 subscribers. Hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss a beat on all of the latest Rams news. And make sure to share this video with a friend as well. That really helps out the channel a lot. But now we have to get on to today's story, which is an NFL insider links Stefon Diggs, one of the best free agent wide receivers still out there on the market, to the LA Rams as well as a couple other teams. This is from Yahoo Sports and Sports Illustrated. And we are going to get into this story right now. According to Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, New England's failure to do so, which would be an A.J. Brown trade, could open the door for a reunion with recently released 32-year-old Diggs. If Brown does join New England, though, Breer noted that the Washington Commanders, Kansas City Chiefs, and LA Rams are among the franchises that could express interest in Diggs. And all three of those spots make sense for Diggs. The Commanders are the clear wide receiver 2, behind Terry McLaurin. For the Chiefs, he'd probably be their wide receiver 1. Would be my guess. The Rams are for trying to win. Now, he fit in really well with the Patriots last year, so they don't bring in A.J. Brown like a lot of people expect them to in a couple weeks. Then I would definitely see Stefon Diggs going back, but the Rams are definitely an intriguing option for him, and Albert Breer actually had more on this as well that we're going to get into right now. Assuming Brown does become a Patriot, I think Diggs will probably be somewhere in that 1-year, $10 million range. The Kansas City Chiefs can make sense. The Commanders might too, since Diggs is from DC. The Falcons and Rams would also be interesting landing spots. Now, the Falcons I don't really see, but the Rams landing spot to me is extremely interesting, just because I firmly believe that he is a missing piece to this offense. Now, the Diggs and Puka locker room to me is a little bit problematic, just because of all the things that can happen. Stefon Diggs had probably his least problematic season in a while, because 2024 was shortened with the injury. I mean, problematic off the field that he's had while being a member of a team, and it seemed like that a lot of the Patriots teammates and brass really have a lot of respect for him. They liked him. They liked what he brought to the team, and I certainly think if Brown is not a Patriot, that he will go back to the Patriots. But if that does not happen, if A.J. Brown is a Patriot, then I certainly believe that the Rams are a team that should be looking in to Stefon Diggs, because Diggs, he's a very versatile receiver. He's the type of receiver that can do a lot of different things on the field. The 4-year offense is a reliable target for Matthew Stafford. In case one of Puka or Davante have to miss a couple games again like they both did last year, you don't really have a huge drop-off in talent from your 2 to your 3. Like, Stefon Diggs would be one of the best wide receiver 3s in NFL history for any offense. If the Rams got Stefon Diggs, I think that would make them Super Bowl favorites immediately. Everyone wanted the Rams to draft another offensive weapon. Josh and I included. That didn't really happen, obviously, but the Rams could definitely get that problem fixed with getting Stefon Diggs. Now we got to look into his stats on the season here as well. And for Stefon Diggs, last year had his best season in a few years. Stefon Diggs played in all 17 games. He had 85 catches, 1,013 yards, ranked 14th. Only 4 touchdowns. The red zone production was a little bit down. He had 102 targets, 11.9 yards per catch, 51 receiving first downs, ranking in the top 10. 0 receiving fumbles, ranking first. Again, his separation grade was quite good, as well as his catch percentage at 83.3%, which was in the 97th percentile, ranking top 5 in football. His yards after the catch were a little bit above average, which you do like to see here as well. Again, the red zone production is a tad bit concerning, but I don't think it's the end of the world given the Rams have Davante, because Puka is getting better in the red zone, as well as they had Colby Parkinson last year. Have a very nice series. 6 foot, 191. He is age 32, so he is a little bit on that older side of his career here, but I also think it's very important to show this stat that I found on Twitter from a head NFL researcher that we're going to get into right now. And it's pretty crazy, actually, when you look at this for the first time here. And this is from a head NFL researcher on Twitter. The highest completion percentage among quarterback and wide receiver duos in 2025 per Next Gen Stats. Drake May and Stefon Diggs got 83.3% completion percentage. Matthew Stafford and Puka up there at 77.7%. And Sam Darnold and JSN up there at 73.5%. And the highest completion percentage among a quarterback wide receiver duo in the Next Gen Stats era are Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, 2018 at 85.6%. And Drake May and Stefon Diggs at 83.3%. So you can just see from this alone how much Stefon Diggs meant to this Patriots team last season, and how he was the lead guy in this offense that made Drake May feel comfortable. Let Josh McDaniels really kind of explore more with what Drake May can do on the football field, because you had that security blanket in Stefon Diggs. Now, if Stefon Diggs goes to the Rams, he won't have to be that security blanket. There's a lot less put on him pressure-wise, and that he's another guy who can kind of coast into the playoffs, and he can have a lot more juice left for what we all hope is a Rams Super Bowl run. And now we have to get into Stefon Diggs' projected contract based on Spot Rack here that we're going to show you right now. So Stefon Diggs, based on Spot Rack's market value, is projected to get a 13.8 average annual salary, which will put him at the 31st highest paid wide receiver in football, which to me makes a lot of sense. I don't think he's going to get that over $20 million range, especially after being released by the Patriots this offseason. That $13.8 million mark, I think, is a very good mark for him to be at personally. And if the Rams give him a one-year deal worth $13.8 million, $14 million, I wouldn't be mad. It's a one-year deal. It ends at the end of the year. You don't have any ties to him after this year. If it doesn't go well, it's a tradable salary for the rest of the season. That I certainly think there's a lot less risk and a lot more reward with giving him a one-year deal at around this value. And now if we compare that to some other wide receiver contracts here based on Spot Rack as well, the Adam Thielen deal I don't think is what he'll get. The Cooper Kupp 3-year $45 million deal I think is a little bit more likely if Stefon Diggs wants to get a payday. I think he's going to look for a similar deal to what Cooper Kupp got recently. The Mac Hollins deal I think is a little disrespectful to compare Stefon Diggs to Mac Hollins. Stefon Diggs not in his prime anymore, but he is still way better than Mac Hollins. Davante Adams at 2 years, $44 million. Again, that could happen if a team like the Patriots want to bring him back because they know how important he was to them last year and a little bit of a pay cut. But I think that Cooper Kupp range of about $15 million per year is a lot more likely for a player of Stefon Diggs' caliber. And I certainly think, again, at that price point, it is worth it for the Rams to go after him. And now it's also very important how he pairs with number one wide receiver Puka Nacua, which to me, I don't think will be too big of an issue. I think they'll kind of fit together just fine. I think Puka, as a number one receiver, he can kind of fit with anybody, I think, because he's so versatile. Stefon Diggs is so versatile. You have Davante as your red zone guy. I don't really think it would be too big of an issue. And obviously, looking at Puka's stats here real quick, don't need to really go too deep into these just to show you how great of a season that he had last year. Puka in only 16 games, 129 catches, which ranked first, 1,715 receiving yards, which was second, 10 touchdowns was third, 166 targets was fourth, 13.29 yards per catch, 80 receiving first downs ranked first, and 1 receiving fumble. The separation grade on Puka is not great, 61%. The cushion grade's a little low, but yards after the catch of 5.63 ranks in the 86th percentile, 94th percentile of catch percentage in air share yards, and obviously everything, targets, receiving touchdowns, yards per reception, all pretty high in the percentiles there. 6'2", 216, only going to be 25 years old at the start of next season. Puka Nacua is your guy if you are the Rams, and I certainly do think that he's the guy you need to build around at that wide receiver position, obviously, but with adding Stefon Diggs, I think it takes a lot of the pressure off of him, just because I don't know if the Rams' winning formula this year is just feeding Puka every other pass. I don't know if that's a formula that can work for back-to-back years for this Rams offense. We saw it kind of fizzle out a little bit in the playoffs when the Rams couldn't rely on the run game, but I think adding another receiver and again those running backs involved is really going to help this Rams offense. And it also really matters how Davante is going to fit in, maybe even more so than how Puka Nacua is going to fit in, because I don't think Puka is going to have too many issues fitting in. It's really going to all depend on how Davante fits. And going over Davante Adams' stats on the season, obviously the separation grades and all that, not going to be great just because of his age. In 14 games, he had 60 catches, 789 yards, 14 touchdowns, still led the league in receiving touchdowns, 114 targets, ranked 19th, 13.15 yards per catch, ranked 85th, 51 receiving first downs, ranked in the top 10 at 9, and still 0 fumbles, so Davante Adams' hands are as good as ever. The separation grade was in the 10th percentile, his cushion in the 8th, catch percentage in the 19th percentile at 52.6%, but I do think a lot of that was due to Matthew Stafford's limited preseason and their limited time together. His air share yards are in a high percentile. Yards after catch are always going to be low for him at this point in his career in the 11th percentile, but everything that matters, yards, receptions, targets, touchdowns, all in those upper percentiles. He's 6'1", 204, going to be 33 here at the start of next season, so he is getting a little bit older. And I think the Adams and Diggs thing, there were some rumors the Rams were going to trade Davante Adams this offseason. Now that doesn't look like that's going to be happening anymore. But I just wonder if Davante is going to feel disrespected by the fact that the Rams feel like they need to bring in Stefon Diggs, because Stefon Diggs had a better season overall than Davante last year, and Davante potentially could feel like, oh, why are you doing this to me, man? Like, I was great as a wide receiver too, led the league in touchdowns. If I didn't get hurt, probably would have had 1,000 yards, if not close to it. So Davante Adams can still play it, but they need someone behind these two guys that can step up. I like CJ Daniels, but I just don't know if he's ready, and I don't really see anyone else on this team that's primed to make a jump anytime soon here. And the main thing here, before making this deal, is it's going to come down to how Les Snead views Stefon Diggs and his value, right? And what does Stefon Diggs and his agent want to get done? Does Stefon Diggs want that multi-year payday again with a slight pay cut, or is he going to take, a 1-year, $12, $13 million deal to join a team like the Rams to try and win a Super Bowl because he got close with the Patriots, and now the Patriots got better in that receiving room, adding Romeo Doubs to have an actual number 2. You push Kayshon Boutte back to the number 3, and you have yourself a nice little 1-2-3 punch there in New England. It gets a little bit better for you there. But if you're Les Snead, you can sell him on working with the MVP. You can sell him on the winning culture that the Rams have right now that the Patriots haven't really had over the last few years. And if the Chiefs are great again, you don't have to play them. You don't have to get through them. You don't have to get through Buffalo. You don't need to go through a healthy Lamar, or if the Bengals defense gets better, a healthy Joe Burrow. That you're really kind of only facing the Seahawks, the Eagles to me are flawed. The NFC North is kind of just going to beat each other up. We don't know if the Niners are going to be healthy. To me, I think the easy choice is to go to the NFC, and the NFC's best team to me is the LA Rams, and I think that's the pitch you use if you're Les Snead. A 1-year, $13, $14 million deal to me is certainly worth it. It all depends on whether Les feels like it's worth it as well. And obviously from the Sean McVay side of things, it's going to be very important to keep the locker room in check with all the guys that you'd be having in there, especially with Puka Nacua and Stefon Diggs, if this were to happen. Going into the same locker room every day, at the same practice, two guys that can cause some drama and trouble off of the field. Now, Puka Hopefully that gets better now that it seems like he is on his self-improvement journey after going into rehab. Obviously, wishing him nothing but the best. Stefon Diggs just got some legal stuff sorted out, so you hope that doesn't carry in to next season either, and you have two guys in there that could be butting heads. They're both big personalities. Now, that's the only downside, but to me, money-wise and production-wise, I certainly think it's worth it. And if Sean McVay will be able to fit Stefon Diggs into the offense. That won't be the problem. It's whether Stefon Diggs and Puka, I think, can get along. And obviously for Nate Scheelhaase as well. It's his first time being an offensive coordinator. I think you have to take that into consideration as well, especially when you're kind of talking about how he wants to call plays, because we'll see how different it is from what Mike LaFleur did last year for this Rams team. So we'll see if he believes they need another receiver. Maybe Scheelhaase didn't believe that because they didn't really end up taking one until the 6th round, and he and McVay talked about it. They're on the same page. All right, we're going to rely on the run a little more. Or they think they need to add this guy, and can Scheelhaase kind of coach a guy like Stefon Diggs and Puka Nacua in a group? To me, it'll be interesting to see if he can, if this happens, because it is his first time as an offensive coordinator. Before we end off today's video, I have my picks to show you from Prize Picks. And obviously, we got Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals going on tomorrow night. And my first pick here is Donovan Mitchell with more than 25.5 points going against the Pistons in Detroit. Now, I know Game 5 and 6 were not great for Donovan. I know, but in Game 7, I've seen him drop 50 in Game 7 before. I've seen it. He had a 43-point game in Game 4 of this series. So I certainly do believe Donovan Mitchell is going to have a nice bounce-back game, more than 25.5 points. We know James Harden isn't the best in the elimination games. The Cavs in this Donovan Mitchell era have had some disappointing playoff losses, and I know that they want to change that, and Donovan Mitchell will be a key reason why, if they win Game 7, it will be on his back. And now heading over to the home team, the Detroit Pistons side of things, Asar Thompson, their do-it-all wing, I think he will have less than 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I know he had 23 in Game 6 in Cleveland, but to me, I think his main focus in Game 7 is going to be playing defense on Donovan Mitchell. Asar, already one of the best defenders in the league, and I certainly believe that if the Pistons want any shot at winning this game, they're going to have to slow down Donovan Mitchell. Once again, they did it in Game 6, and they were able to force a Game 7. Now, can they do it again? That's the question. And going over my lineup for you all one more time, I have Asar Thompson with less than 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and Donovan Mitchell with more than 25.5 points. And now, as always, there are sweepstakes going on Prize Picks all throughout the NBA playoffs, and one of them is the NBA playoff sweepstakes. And starting April 14th through the conference finals, every live NBA lineup you place is a shot to win a trip for two to the 2026 NBA Finals. That's a chance at premium NBA Finals tickets, travel, hotel, and meals, all expenses paid. And remember, as always, play $5 and get $50 instantly in lineups when you use code DIGEST or the link in the description or pinned comment to sign up for Prize Picks today. Thank you very much once again to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. And now I'd want to hear from you all in the comments. Should the Rams consider signing Stefon Diggs? Comment down below why for yes and for no. And is he a good fit for the Rams wide receiver room? Same thing, comment down below why for yes and for no. To me, yes and yes. I think he fits in terms of his play. The personality is the only question. And if it's at the right price, if it's a 1 year, $12 million deal, I would definitely say the Rams should do it. And that is all for today's episode of Rams Digest. Remember, leave a like on the video right now. Hit that sub button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 6K, 6,000 subscribers. Click that notification bell if you're enjoying the content so you don't miss any of the latest Rams offseason news coming out yet every day here on Rams Digest. Share this video with a friend. It helps the channel out a lot. And leave your thoughts in the comments down below on what the Rams should do about Stefon Diggs. Should they go for him? And if they should, do you believe he fits this wide receiver room? I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh, as always. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one, and have a great rest of your day.